Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Marketing Mondays with Ira Bowman. I have a wonderful guest here with me today. Nina is joining us to talk about all things marketing. Let me tell you a little bit about Nina. She is she's from Europe, so that's always exciting. Nina, I don't know what's going on. I'm not finding my script. I've got a script I was supposed to read. Bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. I took a couple weeks off with the new year, and I'm out of practice. Here we go. Nina is a visionary marketing to improve their marketing strategies, get clients, automate their businesses, and have less stress. 18 years of experience, Nina has crafted groundbreaking marketing campaigns for Fortune 500 companies and small businesses across the USA and Europe. Presently, her focus is on propelling healers online businesses by creating million-dollar brands that significantly contribute to the healing humanity achieved through her proprietary method called the Illuminated Experience, which is trademarked. Guided by the mission to do good for clients, humanity, and businesses, Nina teaches that her four-step blueprint crystallizes the path to a profitable healing empire with clarity, ease, creating a substantial impact on humanity. Nina's unique formula for success seamlessly blends exceptional marketing skills, business acumen, and a profound understanding of energy healing and mindset work. This powerful fusion sparks an unstoppable drive in her clients, propelling them to build thriving and prosperous healing businesses. Beyond being a source of motivation, Nina is an inspiring figure known for her genuine approach. Her blend of empathy, business, and marketing expertise is infectious energy, leaves an enduring impact on everyone she encounters. When not revealing the secrets of skyrocketing both life and business, you might find Nina joyfully dancing Zumba or practicing yoga with her daughter. Nina, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here on Marketing Mondays with Ira Bowman.
Thank you so much for having me here. Hello, everybody. I'm so excited to be here. Thank
Yeah,
you.
it's going to be fun. We're going to talk about all things marketing. You said a few things in the introduction that I just read for the audience that I find fascinating. The combination, or the to use your expression, which I think is apropos here, fusion of healing and marketing, and even beyond that, your authentic approach is something that I also am known for, and so it all lended itself to you being invited to be a guest on my show. I was introduced to you by one of my good friends in the healing space, Barbie Layton. And, I know that you have done a lot of work with Barbie over the years. She had nothing but glowing things to say about you. And so I'm excited about our conversation. For those of you watching, we've got a few people chiming in right now. One from Rwanda. I don't want to butcher your name there, brother, so I'm not going to attempt that. That's a tongue twister for me. And then we have Curdy from India. My son is watching from the other room, and
Hello.
I always appreciate the support from my friends and family too. But we're glad to have you. We have a global audience. A lot of them, as I was telling you about in the green room briefly before we hopped on here live, a lot of them do run their own marketing, whether that's for their personal brand, and you are a branding expert with 18 years and counting of experience. That's a lot. So you're not a novice. I hope that we can get into a little bit later some of the tips and advice that you might have for those watching if they are doing things on their own, how they can. This is what I find. A lot of people want to hire a professional to help, but they don't have the funds for it yet. They're building their bootstrapping, if you will, their efforts. And so they're trying to figure out how to get it going to the point where they can actually take some of those extra dollars and put it towards hiring a professional. So maybe we can give them some advice. I do that each and every week on this show. Got one of my other children from another room. She's supposed to be doing
Hello.
homework, but Lily and in our latest addition to our family is a cute little puppy named Chippy. And then we've got Jean watching from Kenya as well. Welcome,
Hello.
Jane. Welcome, Jane, to the show. So Nina, let's do this. Let's talk a little bit just by kind of like way of getting to know you and maybe your backstory. So in the introduction, we mentioned that you have been doing this for quite a while, almost 2 decades, the better part of 2 decades, which is impressive because you're only 25, right? Um, so you started young, but let's talk a little bit about how you got into marketing in the first place. Maybe some of the backstory there would be awesome.
Okay. So I was always in love with marketing. I really, really loved it and breathed it. And I remember when I was 16 years old, I wrote in my diary, I want to have an advertising agency and it's going to look like this. And a couple of years later, I came to Austria to study marketing at one of the famous universities here and also worldwide. And then we were just students here, me and my husband. He was at that time my boyfriend. We were studying marketing. We came to Austria with nothing. We didn't have connections. We barely speak. We barely spoke language, and we didn't really have a money. We started working for different agencies, and we wanted to really just to.
Uh-oh, something happened. Nina, hang on just a second. I've lost sound. Can somebody in the comments tell me, can you hear Nina right now? Is it my sound or is it her sound out? Nina, hang on a second, Nina. We can't we can't hear you. I don't know if it's you or me. Yeah, I think your sound is off. I don't know if the Bluetooth switched off. Oh wait. It looks like your mic is muted.
I don't know
Yeah.
what I didn't
No,
do
that's
anything.
okay. But let's start from the last thing that I heard you say was your husband who was your boyfriend at the
Yeah.
time and you both were studying. Yeah. Thank you,
Yeah,
Jane, for
we were both students. We just wanted to earn additional income to pay our bills, and we decided, okay, let's set up an advertising agency in the country. We didn't know anybody. We didn't have connections. We barely spoke language, and we didn't have email list or nothing. At that time, Facebook and Instagram were not a thing. Actually, it was
right.
2009, and I remember we set up our agency, and then we were asking ourselves, oh my god, how we are going to find clients. And I remember the first thing what came to our mind is like, let's order 200,000 business cards. And I remember we got a call from our
Wait, say that one more time. 200,000?
yes, and that was
Wow.
exactly the question we got from our accountant. She called us and said, like, is this mistake? Do you mean like 2,000? No, we said like 200,000 business cards, and they
How
were
many
really cool.
boxes were I mean that must
Yeah,
have
we
filled your
got like
living room.
5 biggest boxes, like really big boxes,
Wow.
and they were really cool business cards because every single business card had our name, services, what we do, and on the other side we asked like, did you know that you can reach so many clients with that amount of money? And the only thing what we did, I was 23 at that time. He was 28, and we were just like, okay, let's go on a date. That was never a date. That was like a walking romance. Like, and this is what we did. We walked down the streets and found the businesses and put business card into their mailboxes. And the first client that we got was the largest advertising agency in the world, and
Wow.
they hired us to do business for them. And
They
that
like
really
your
opened.
moxie.
Sorry.
They like the moxie of putting the card in their mailbox.
Yeah, we were like walking down, putting business cards into mailboxes, and we got our first clients, and that was really big deal for us.
Yeah.
And this is how everything snowballed, actually. And after that, we started getting more and more clients, really big international clients, Fortune 500 companies, and we started working on marketing for them. And it was
Yeah.
really, really interesting to see what is happening behind the scenes when you work for big guys.
Yeah.
And
The
this is,
education there is better than a degree.
yeah, and we
Yeah.
have all these clients, like almost more than 14 years now, like more of them, like, and yeah, we have all these clients, and the thing is, everything what I learned from these big names and big companies, we did a lot of marketing campaigns in Austria, Germany, Czech Republic, Slovakia, Switzerland, Croatia, and also the last couple of years, and also in the US. And everything what I learned from these big boys, I started applying to my healing business, and I got into healing like long time. Well, not long time ago. It's like, I think like 4 or 5 years ago, when I got really, really sick, and when traditional methods couldn't help me, I tried energy healing, and it changed my whole life. All of a sudden, I started practicing healing. What can I like do to help myself, because I want to get my health back? And when people saw my transformation, they reached out to me to help them. And all of a sudden, I was a full-time healer. That was not planned.
Yeah.
And then I noticed, okay, everything what I learned from these big names, let's apply that in my business and see how it works. And while I was building my healing business, I helped other healers build their businesses too, because I noticed if I want to help humanity, I need help people get clients and
Yeah.
help them heal. And that
There,
was my story.
there's a term here that I want to introduce because you hear it and I hear it inside the marketing space all the time. But people outside, and mostly the people that we have who watch our show, are not marketing professionals. There's this term. Now you might say it. There's a couple different ways to say it: niche or niche. And I don't really know what is the right way to say it. In my mind, when I read it, I say niche, just a full disclosure, but I know a lot of people say niche. But either way, however you say it, tomato, tomato. You just mentioned an example of what niche or niche marketing is. It's when you focus on a specific type of group. So you might get advice, small business owner out there watching, you might get advice, hey, you need to niche down. I don't really ever hear it say niche down, but maybe people do say it that way too. But however you say niche or niche, however you pronounce it, the idea is that you kind of laser focus on a segment within the greater population of who you could serve. And that specialty, that's really what we're talking about here. Becoming a specialty provider can be a huge accelerant to business growth by limiting who you focus on and limiting your efforts. What I think, and I'm going to offer my idea on this, Nina, and then we can flesh it out together because you have as much experience, if not more, than I do in this world. But I think the idea here, and I learned this in the print business a long time ago, by focusing on certain subgroups or niching down, it allowed me to learn the nomenclature or the words, the vocabulary, especially the acronyms. But also it helped me to learn their specific challenges in that industry and what they're trying to accomplish for their audience. So it allowed me to be a much better steward or guide to help them get from wherever they are to where they want to go. Would you agree with all those things? So let's talk about that a little bit. This
Yeah, I
niche.
would definitely agree with that, especially if you're a coach or healer. I would definitely agree, because you have to be someone to somebody somewhere
Yeah,
in order to really get clients. Make yourself known for the things you do, and you can always expand your reach. You can always focus on another target audience, but just focus on being known to your potential clients, people you really love to work with. I would
yeah,
just call it like this. And because there's so many people in the world, they are not your ideal clients, and you cannot help the whole world, but you
right.
can help very specific type of people and create great results for them. And that's why I would really focus on them and become someone to somebody somewhere.
Yeah, and it increases referrals without question
Yes.
because, once you not only for for case studies, and we're going to get into some of the marketing, the techniques and how we approach our campaigns and spreading the message, but you know, just at the 30,000-foot level, if you're good at helping a specific type of client, in this case for you healers, right? Um, Other healers who they're friends with, they meet them at conventions or in trainings, or, it's just birds of a feather flock together, whatever it is, right? They're socially connected, if not professionally connected. And they start asking questions like, hey, how do you get the word out? How are you building your business? How is it that your calendar is full? Because I know healers who, they have capacity to serve more people, but they don't know how to bring those people in. Well, if you're getting a referral from somebody who's solid, their calendar is full and they're having to turning away people because they can't help any more people one-on-one, and you're doing that and you're struggling to find clients, and they say, hey, I'm using Nina from Nina Maglic, right? If I'm in that world and I'm looking for clients, that's one of the first people I would call, right? It's like, hey, I know that you're successful not only in marketing as a whole, but you're successful in this specific industry, and I know I can trust that you can help me. Referrals are, for most small business owners, their number one source of new business, right?
Yes.
And working with a vendor who specializes or niches into that same subgroup, into that specific focus, is a huge benefit. So let's talk about that a little bit more. How are you helping healers to get the word out? Because that's really what marketing does. We increase visibility. We help explain what it is they do, how they resolve issues, and ultimately fill their pipeline. I know people don't like to think about sales from a pragmatic standpoint, though. It is important because at the end of the day, we all need clients to invoice so that we can sustain not only our business but our lives and make hopefully a bigger impact in the world, right? So how
Yes.
do you go about, we could talk about it from one of two ways, maybe both. How do you do it for your business, or whichever you feel more comfortable? We don't necessarily want to give away all the secret sauce here for your competitors to watch and see how you're doing it so they can copy you. But whatever you feel comfortable sharing with what you're doing for your business and or what you're doing for your clients. Let's get into some of the nuts and the bolts here.
Yeah, I would love to really focus on the clients because many
Yeah.
people who are watching this can really take a lot of things from this, what's happening. People usually ask like I'm doing everything, but something is wrong. I'm not getting clients. I tried everything, and very often when you check that message, check that offer, you see the message is really not clear what they're talking about, how they can help people. And there are like two types of problems here. First, people use vague language, and they're like language that their potential clients really do not understand. And when you confuse somebody, you lose. You really need to be very clear how you help your clients and how your services can provide great outcome for your clients. People are looking for outcomes because nobody's buying sessions, courses, memberships. People are buying outcomes. And the first thing what you really need to do is really focus on understanding your potential clients. Make sure that you really know them at a very deep level. And this is where like biggest mistakes happen because people like skip this. Or when you ask clients what is your target audience, they usually say spiritual women between 30s and 60s, and that's the biggest mistake because these are like two different types of people, because women in their 30s have completely different set of problems and different habits and different circumstances than women in their 60s, because women in their 30s have kids, have families, try to navigate like career, job, everything, household, kids. And women in their 60s have kids who probably graduated from the college. They became like grandpas or grandmas,
Yeah.
and now they have a time to dedicate to themselves. These are like two different sets of problems people have.
Yeah.
And when you when you define your target audience so broadly, the message is unclear. And on top of that, like when you use very vague language, what people usually say, you will feel happier, you will feel like lighter. What does it even mean? Because my definition of happiness is completely different than your definition of happiness. If we really
Absolutely.
want to help people to understand what you do, you have to paint vivid picture for them to really understand how you can help them. And
I was being facetious, Nina, but happiness for me is this right here.
yeah,
I'm walking around doing something with this guy, right? I love taking photos.
yeah.
Anyways,
And the happiness for me is just waking up. It's summer, sun is shining. I'm on the beach with my daughter, and it's just beautiful sunny day, and you feel breeze on your skin, and you smell sea, and it's like you hear the waves, and that's for me the happiness, you know. And that's a really completely different definition of happiness. And that's why when you use vague language, people don't know what you mean. And that's why I always recommend people to paint with picture for people to help them understand what you're doing. And also there's another problem. There's like what people think is the problem and what their clients perceive as the problem.
Right. It's not always the same, is it?
No, like for example, if somebody is almost on the edge of burnout, they have a problem with their boss and to-do list, they are blaming their boss for the state they are currently in. On the other side, what healers believe is really the issue here is something completely different. But you really need to use the language of your potential clients to get connected with them so they understand clearly what you do, how you can help them, and what is the outcome after working with you. And that's the most important thing. And I see that so many people struggle because if you don't understand your clients, everything becomes very hard. Marketing doesn't work, your offer doesn't sell, your social media doesn't convert, and and it feels almost like you have a bag full of stone going uphill and have the worst storm of your life, and you're trying to just get up. And it's really hard. It's really hard to sell anything if you don't know your clients. And people usually skip research, but that's the most fundamental and most important part of the market.
Well, you've said a lot. Hang on. Let me park for just 1 second. Kirti asked if this is going to be recorded and released. The answer is absolutely yes. You can find it in a variety of ways. So it'll always be, we go live, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So on my channel, you can always go over to my video sections. In fact, most of them have a live section where you can go to the live and then you can see the videos, not only for this week, but all the other episodes that I put out. We're over 100 in this series now. The show's been on for 3 years, which is awesome. So those are there. They're also on my website, bowmandigitalmedia.com, and then go to the Marketing Mondays tab, and it'll be down at the bottom. I always put the newest ones on the bottom. I used to try to put them on top, but it's just the way that the website theme editor is. It's easier to add them on the bottom, so they'll be there forever. So you can check them out. They're Kirti anytime. Nina, I've done this as you were talking. I wasn't trying to be rude. I was trying to type the tips. I just want to make sure we got these correct. So the first big tip that we put out there: make sure the message is clear, because clarifying that, and the way you said it, which I absolutely agree with, the outcome is the main thing. In fact, I want to show people an example of that. What does that look like? Because this is a mistake that I had made myself. I think a lot of people make it, but I had made this mistake myself. So I changed my website. And what I did was, because people, when they go to hire a marketing company, what they're really trying to do is increase sales. So I said, and I have to refresh this because it's on a loop and it times out after a minute, but I'm going to refresh it just so y'all can see it. So it says, do you need more sales? Right there. Do you need Google help? Do you need marketing help? Right? I changed this, more visibility. I changed it because those are the outcomes that they're looking for. And then I added this line right here. We help increase sales and visibility, because I could tell them we can manage their PPC, or we can build them a website, or we can run their social media. And I do later in the, if they keep scrolling and consume the content. But right up at the top, I wanted to make sure they knew that the whole reason you hire us ultimately is to increase your visibility and gain sales. And then I've got a video here that's looking to increase sales without sending emails, because people don't like to spam folks. Right. So I made sure, and rank higher on Google. These are the things, the outcomes that they're looking for. So I just want to share with people so they can see kind of what that looks like pragmatically in changing the message from, I used to, believe it or not, used to talk about SERP all the time on my website and in my social media campaigns. It was like, we'll increase your SERP. Well, what's the problem with that, Nina? The problem is nobody understands. They don't understand. What does that mean, SERP? I don't understand that acronym. Search Engine Results Page is what it stands for. But even more important than that, even if you knew what SERP was, which again, most people don't, how does that help me? That's really the question that you want to answer with the outcome. If I hire you, Nina, how do you help me? Or let's go to, my mom said I make mistakes. Yeah, you know very well that I make lots and lots of mistakes, 100%. And Kurti was saying thank you for the fact that this is going to be posted for prosperity and she can find it later. Absolutely. That's the whole point of these. We did fix this, Dixie. If you keep going, she had accidentally hit her mute button. So hopefully you have sound now. Just at that one spot, I know what you're talking about. We were short of sound for like 30 seconds. Anyways, okay. But I just want people to understand, like to be able to visualize what it is you're saying, because it's huge, right? Make sure that you are speaking in a way that they understand. Am I correct in that? I just want to make sure that we've
Yes.
got that
Yeah,
point.
make sure that you use your client's language
Yeah,
so that they really understand what you're talking about. And the best way how to do that, start paying attention to what people are telling you when people book a session or book a call with you, what they're typing in, and
yeah.
start seeing what is the pattern
Yeah, and
and what they really want.
I put this as that second tip, but it's really a continuation of the first. It's like 1, A, B, and C. Really, these 3 tips that I've written down, they all go together. But make sure you're understanding, and that takes listening, active
Mm.
listening, right? Don't wait to speak. This is a hard thing for a lot of us to do. But it's like when you're talking to somebody, first of all, eye contact, stuff that we didn't used to have to say, but it does need to be said in today's day and age. Don't be staring at this dude while you're having a conversation with somebody, whether it's in person or over a Zoom call, right? Make sure you're looking at them, but you're listening, be in the moment, because they can feel it. They can feel if like your response doesn't really address what they just said, they're going to know that you're not really in it with them. And part of this too is also, this is a trap of the niche, right? Here's a finer point to niching. Don't go in with the assumption that you know everything about their business just because you're familiar with the business they're in. Their specific business model, the way that they have been doing things, here's a marketingism for you. Unique selling proposition, the USP. It's unique. You haven't heard it yet, then don't, those presumptions that we make, those assumptions that we make can be the difference between landing the client and not landing the client. And if you do land the client, helping them get the actual outcome, like you're talking about here, what they do and the outcomes that they actually generate for their clients. It needs to all be in alignment. If you're going to run marketing, whether you're running your own marketing or you're smart and you hire Nina or Ira to help you with your marketing, whoever is doing that, creating that content and putting out those messages needs to understand that very clearly, because the promises that we make, and make no mistake about it, these things that we're putting out there, whether they're emails or ads or content on our social media, maybe we're writing articles for guest blogs, whatever it is, we're making phone calls, all of those things, the message that goes out, it needs to be considered from your end as the content creator a promise. It is a promise. And so if those outcomes are something that's pie in the sky, or let's say it another way, you can't deliver them, then you're not being honest. And it is a reason you will ultimately fail. Eventually, people will hire you to do these things. They expect you to deliver the outcome that they hired you to do, right? So this is where it all comes together. And then your third one, which I think is really good too, right? Make sure you're working on the problem to deliver the outcome the client is looking to resolve. So you have to be, again, on that same page with them, because if you're trying to deliver, here's one for me, right? So people hire Bowman Digital Media mainly to increase their website traffic. That's the number one outcome that we deliver. And why? So that they can increase their sales funnel. That's the ultimate goal. But if we're not delivering the right type of audience, it can be a huge problem, right? We can bring more people if they're not interested in what it is that the client who hired us is offering, then it's just vanity metrics, right? We've got to bring in the right crowd who's tuned into, let's say, for example, healers. That's the area that you are specialized in. If you're bringing people who aren't interested in working with healers, that doesn't help your clients, right? So there's where it all kind of ties together. So let's keep this rolling.
Can I just add something here, because it's really, really important. You also touched that, because I'm really huge believer in whatever you do, you have to do it right. If you cannot deliver, don't promise. And I'm really against people who promise moons and stars and deliver cosmic dust. I'm like, if you do and say what you can, if you cannot, just be honest with the people. You will not die because you don't know something. There's
Right.
always way to learn, and there's always way to work with other people collaboratively on the project. So it's okay to say, I don't know. Let's find out.
Yeah, and if you're honest with your people, first of all, I love that expression. If you promise the moon and stars, but then deliver, what did you say? Pixie dust? Stardust.
Cosmic dust.
Cosmic dust. That I've not heard that expression before, Nina, but I like it. That's a good one. Okay. But to your point, and to the point that you're commenting on from what I had said earlier, 100% true. You've got to be able to deliver, and it is okay to say, here's an example. Again, I pull from my own experiences. I was reached out to 3.5, I believe, years ago by a client that was hiring us already to do some work for them on social media. They wanted us to work on their Amazon portal and increase their performance in Amazon. And he goes, Ira, I love what you're doing for us in this other area. We have this extra thing that we need help with. We want to hire you to do it. And I told the guy point blank, I said, you could hire me, but I have no experience with this. You would be a guinea pig, and I would be learning on the fly. Now, if you're okay with that, then I'll give you a big price discount, because it's something that obviously would be a value for me to learn, and a service that other people would be interested in having us do later. But, after I gave him that information, he did decide to go another direction. I don't blame him a bit, but it was just me being transparent. Like, there's a lot of different components and elements to marketing, as you know, right? A lot of people think marketing is just like one thing. No, it's a lot. It contains a lot of different stuff. So I had no experience with that. And he moved on, and it was better for me to do it that way and give up the potential income short term that I would have pulled in, but then I wouldn't have been able to deliver unless I got lucky, the results he was looking for, and I could have ruined my reputation. And I've always said that the reputation it's the main thing that you have. If I lost all my business and had to start over, the one thing that wouldn't go away would be my reputation.
Yes.
Right? That integrity is a huge part of all of this. So you have to be honest, guys. It's okay. It's okay not to publicize maybe your warts or advertise the areas that that are not your strengths. But behind the scenes and in these messages, these one-on-one meetings that you're having with your clients, you need to be very honest, open and honest about what your capabilities are. And if they're trying to push you outside your capability set, whatever that skill set is, those deliverables are, you've got to just be honest with them and say, well, no, we don't do it that way, or that's not our expertise. And then let them decide if they want to move forward with you in that area or not, if it's something you're willing to do. And then the other part of this, Nina, as you and I both know, there's a lot of white label partnerships available out there. And that was one of the other options that I discussed with that particular client and said, hey, my team doesn't have that skill set. We don't offer that, but there are other companies who specialize in it. If you want, I could PM it for you and, work with a third party. And so those options are out there too. Do you currently work with third party vendors? I know some marketing companies do everything internally, and like at Bowman Digital Media, about 50% of what we deliver is actually through external vendors.
Yeah, we are actually vendors for many Viennese advertising agencies.
Yeah.
Like the biggest advertising agency, they hired us to finish the work and conduct the campaigns.
Yeah, it's very common in the marketing space that you'll find that. So in essence, what you do when you're hiring a marketing agency is they represent you. They get to know you, understand all your challenges. And then for any of the deliverables, here's an example for my company. Outbound email marketing is not something that we do internally, but we have a third-party vendor that we've been working with for a couple of years. And so they handle all of our outbound email campaigns for our clients. So the clients come through the front door through us, and then we utilize the third party, and the third party takes care of that for us. And that's how we get it done. And it's less expensive for me, and I don't have to go out and learn a whole new, set of systems and technologies and processes and make sure people don't get blacklisted and the open rates are better and all that stuff. So that's
Yeah,
how.
and if you really work with big guys, like big companies, you will probably work with many companies. Like there will be many stakeholders on that project, many
Yeah.
like agencies, and that's completely normal. You just need to like understand that everybody's there is to carry out projects successfully, and that's it.
Yeah. So let's talk about marketing challenges that we're seeing post COVID. The world is, it looks radically different today than it did 4 years ago, right? And things that we were doing in marketing 4 years ago, for the most part, some of it stayed the same, but some of it looks a lot different because of working from home and remote meetings, the Zooms and all that stuff. So, what are some of the challenges that you're seeing for your clients? With respect to marketing and dealing with the new communication, challenges that people face, whether it be social media or creating this content, getting it out, setting appointments, all those things. What are some of the challenges that you see with your
Um,
clients?
and like I would just focus on European market right now because this is like what I see is happening very often with my clients is that everything is now moved to online, which is no big secret. But
Yeah,
people like still want to have live events. But when you organize live events, many people like if you organize big events like bigger mastermind and things like that, people still feel why should I go there when I can watch from my home? And
right.
it's like people don't like to travel so much because it's so convenient just to log in and you have everything there. Like you have everything on your computer and you can watch it in your bed. There's no, you know, there's no extra effort that you need to do. But with live events, I see like there are two types that are happening right now with bigger masterminds. People like they're craving like personal connections, but sometimes they feel like lazy to move themselves and go
Yeah,
to another location. And with like other like events that provide excellent experience, really focusing on delivering extraordinary experiences for clients, these events take off because people are really craving to see other people.
yeah.
I see that is happening very often.
In your space, the healing space, and I work with a lot of coaches over here in the United States, so I am experiencing and dealing with the same issue. In fact, I hosted with one of my good friends, Joel Phillips, who runs a company called ProShark, and we ran an event called GAIN, which just stood for Growth Accelerator Networking Event. We did not have it online. We did not have an online version. So we got a lot of feedback, a lot of complaining, if you will, that there wasn't an online option. But let's talk about some of the logistics because we have some overlap in the communities that we serve, or their need for this in person live events. So if somebody's watching and they're thinking about hosting an event, a live event, what are some of the tips that you would give them from the marketing perspective on what to do and how to handle a live event in today's world?
Yeah, I would say like start promoting it very early.
Yeah.
You really need time to warm
How
up
many,
the audience.
how long are we talking? A year, 6 months? What do you think?
No, it depends on the event, but usually if you have very known client, if he or she is a big healer, you really need to start promoting at least 2 months in advance. It's
Okay.
really at least 2 months in advance and really talk about that intensively. And before these 2 months of very intensive promotion, like 3, 4 months before the event, you should start warming up audience, telling them this is a sneak peek, this is what we're going to do, like giving them a little bit like sneak peek, but also a little bit like information, what's going on, who is the speaker, what is the topic, and really start like pique curiosity for people to join. And when you really start selling tickets, that you really can sell the tickets much easier. I think that's the most important thing. It really also depends on how known that person is and what
Yeah.
type of list they have, and if they have a big list or small list, if they have a big social media following or not. It's like there are so many factors that influence that.
Yeah.
And yeah,
This is where
and we we
the
also
cohort can be very helpful there, right? So cohort just means a group of people coming
yes.
together to work on one event in combination, but when I was putting on the Gain event. So in 2022, I know it was early. COVID was still around, but in 2022, I put on a live event here in Southern California, and I did it by myself. I ran the event by myself. In 2023, I did the event as I was just talking about with my good friend and business partner Joel Phillips. So one of the reasons why I did it with a partner as opposed to doing it myself was this exact point that you're talking about right here. The list, having more contacts is a big deal, right? And so one of the things that we faced, here's an issue we faced. I'm not going to tell you how we did it yet because I want to see what your advice is. So here's one of the issues, and you talked about it, selling tickets. One of the reasons why the list is so important is because obviously if you're going to have an audience, live event, you got to fill the room, right? Nobody wants to be the only person sitting in the seat listening to somebody stand behind a lectern or a podium and give a speech, right? So you gotta fill the room. It's important. What are your thoughts? And again, we're trying to give advice to people who are watching. What is your advice on how much to charge? Should it be free? Do you do a blend, free offering and a charged offering for those who might want a little bit more? Like in our case, well, again, I want to see what you recommend here, and then we can talk about my last event, this Gain event, and how we did it, and some of our lessons learned, because this is another thing that we can get into. When you do event after event after event, you start to learn lessons at every one that you can apply and make them better moving forward. So we'll get into some of that too. But what do you think ticket strategy should be here, as far as, the way they're distributed, the way you market them, and the pricing that they're offered for?
I think there's a huge difference between European market and US market, because I think prices for events in US are much higher than in Europe. And in Europe, if you charge 100 euros for just 3-4 hour event, it's okay. But it's also at the end of high price for that event.
So that'd be seen as a luxury item.
Yeah, it's like, if you can, for the courses that are live held, it's usually max like 2,000-3,000 for 2-3 days in Europe. And of course it can go upper than that, but you have to really have big list, be very known, know what you're doing, have a huge marketing team in the background. On the other side, if you are in the US, like live events, free live events are very common, because you're all do like free webinars. But I really cannot say about this is what I see people are doing very often, is offering like 2 get together for free, but then they upsell you for the next event, and then upsell you for the mastermind, then
Right, almost like a click funnel.
event.
Yeah, it's like a click funnel. Here, come to this for $49, but then we're gonna try and get you for $5,000 before you leave, right?
Yeah, it's really common to get upsells. In Europe, not so common, because people like, this is too much for me. But yeah, I think, to be honest, if you offered just like 2-3 hours free event, and then you taught something and then you pique curiosity, like, come to my next event, is going to be 2,000 for the whole weekend, I think that's fair price. But usually I notice that healers who have a live events, they usually charge between 5,000 to 10,000 for live events in the US.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about some of the logistics just pragmatically. When you have a live event, you're paying for the venue, and auspiciously you're going to provide some type of food or snacks or beverages, and then you might have some swag. That could be, swag is just gifts that you give the people who come, right? So it could be a book or a shirt or a pen or a calendar, or whatever, USB charger, right? So you have these costs that, you have to pay for the facility, you have to pay for the food, you have to pay for whatever gifts are given out. So there are some things that have to be covered. One of the ways that we approached it when we did Gain, which I'm happy to share a strategy for anybody watching who's interested in, hosting their own live event, we actually charged the speakers to present and not the audience. So we had a free ticket, but we also, because there are people in America, you're right, it seems to go one of two ways here. People want to come for free and they don't want to spend a single penny, and that's totally fine. They're an audience. But then there's people who won't come to free events because they don't think they're going to get any real value. Like, who's going to give away the secret formula for nothing, right? So we had the way that we approached it was a VIP ticket, and the VIP ticket gave them more access to the speakers, and they've got a free copy of a book that was written, and then they got a hosted cocktail hour at the end where, you know, the drinks and the snacks were provided. But then that was like a one-on-one networking session with the speakers. So that's kind of how we did it. Now, here's one of the problems we had. There, I love full disclosure, transparency. All right, our free tickets, all they had to do was go online and register, right? And we were getting to add them to our CRM, which is our contact record management software, right? So we could send them emails and market to them later. Okay, so it was free, but the caveat was they had to give us their contact information so we could message them later. All right. You could say spam, but I don't want to say spam because we're sending them stuff that was just about the event, not on a general list. However, here's what we noticed, Nina. About 50% of the people who signed up in advance to come attend the show did not show up. Yeah. Right. So that rate normally, the attrition rate on something like that normally is only about 10% industry wide. So we were much higher no-show rate than what we expected. And one of the outcomes, I'll just, again, be full transparency, learning opportunity for everybody watching in the United States. What we decided was it would have been better to have a very small fee, say $20 or $40. Doesn't really matter. Something, you know, nominal is the word that we would use, but, you know, low pain point. But we think that if we had done that, that we would have had a much higher turnout rate because they would have had, this is the expression we use in the United States. I don't know if it translates over across the pond, but we call it skin in the game. They would have had a little bit of skin in the game, and we think we would have done much better. So in the future, this is what we plan to do. And I'd love to get your advice on it because you're a fellow marketing expert here. But, you know, we're thinking like, you know, $39 or something like that. And then maybe we give them some type of, you know, I'm holding tokens. I play with these as I talk, but, you know, like a drink token or something like that. So they get like almost like a rebate or a refund. So they're getting some value for the $39 beyond just coming. But our purpose for the $39 isn't to raise funds. It's just to get them to show up, to make sure that they actually come. It's like they're invested in this thing. They don't want to miss out on the opportunity because they invested. That's our thought. What do you think about that?
First of all, I think it's a great idea to charge people because when people pay, they pay attention and they come to event because, oh my God, I already paid that. I have to be there.
Right.
And very few people will say, no, thank you. It's not worth it. But I truly believe this is what I noticed. Like when people pay, they show up and it's much easier to fill the event. And the next thing what immediately came to my mind, if you want to give people like chips, I would really think about giving people vouchers for your services.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's much better idea because they will get the same value than when they hire you to do something you can deduct that price.
Yeah, and you're encouraging them to take that next step, which is awesome. Now, we did at our event, I'm really proud of this event, Nina. Here's what we did. So we had live speakers. There were 12 total live speakers. So it was an all-day event. Started at 9 a.m., ended at 5 p.m., right? So all-day event. We were at a convention center here in Southern California called the Ontario Convention Center. So we had a big room. We had the speakers set up like vendors at tables on the perimeter of the room. And so when they weren't speaking, when they weren't giving their presentation, they had a booth set up the whole day. So they were able to come, and we had 2 networking breaks for a general session. And then we had that VIP session at the end. So there was an opportunity for people to like meet and get together and talk about business. And they were able to offer, I encourage them. This is one of these newer things, right? But QR codes. I said, what you need to do is have your opportunity, whatever that is, your course, your service, whatever it is, make sure you have a QR code displayed on the table that people with their cell phones can take a shot of and get right to that landing page. Again, I don't want to talk over people's heads here, but I'm talking to a marketing lady, so she's following along, right? So that was part of the strategy, and that was really successful, having people set up. Our goal for each speaker was that they would leave with some business from the show, and I believe that happened, which is nice.
Yeah, what we actually also do in Europe is really having like a giveaways, but you can only get the gift if you go to social media, post picture of
Yeah,
yourself in the stories and tag others, and then we repost that, and that gets massive attraction to social media accounts.
I love that idea. I intended to do something like that, but at the end, because this was our first time doing it and I had so much on my plate, I was like, I don't want to do it poorly. So
Mm.
I opted not to do it. But in the future, that is certainly, I love that idea. And it is something that we're going to incorporate because, again, lessons learned. You learn all kinds of things every time you do these types of events. But one of the things that I learned personally, I need more help. I was doing too much that day because I was the photographer, the videographer. I spoke. I was not the MC, which I'm thankful I did not do that. I had an MC and I had my partner who was also helping, but he was communicating primarily with the Ontario Convention Center staff and coordinating like chairs go here, tables go there, security directions, all that stuff, getting people in the room, all those things. And so if I had one more person there on my team who was helping me, communicate with the speakers themselves, that would have been good. And then also they could have been running the social media and managing that. And, you talked about taking a picture and putting it on social media to be entered in the prize. Also, for those of you watching, come up with a hashtag. Like for us, it was hashtag Gain Ontario. So, they could go once an hour and comb LinkedIn, comb Twitter, comb Facebook, and look for posts that were made with that hashtag. And then those are your entries for the prize that Nina was talking about. Great idea and suggestion. What else? What else would you? We're gonna leave this topic in just a moment. But what other advice would you have for people if they're looking for? Because I know this is a big part of the healer world, and for those of you who are coaches, it correlates perfectly with coaches too. What other advice would you give for them for running a live event, or maybe building out the live event itself?
I want to go back to something that you said because I think it's very important what you mentioned, like, I need extra help. And this
Yeah,
is what people very often underestimate, especially if you have a live event. There's always something that can go wrong. Make sure that you always have additional person. We always
yeah,
hire somebody just to be standby
yeah,
to do all the things if in case somebody gets sick or somebody um, there's all kind of things. We are all humans then, and so many things can happen, and you always need to have an extra person to help you with organization and
yeah,
everything else. And the next thing what I would definitely recommend people is record live events
yeah,
and turn them into paid on demand
yeah,
webinars
yeah,
or master classes, courses. This is something that is always valuable. And whatever you do, think about how can I create asset from this,
yeah,
and always
yeah.
make sure
Another
that, yeah,
Another
that
term, another term or expression that we use for that is deliverables, right? So these assets that she's talking about, evergreen content, is extremely valuable because they've already given the presentation. Now they can sell it online. We actually, for the speakers, because again, if you remember how we set it up, the speakers were actually our clients, not the attendees of the show, right? The attendees, for the most part, didn't pay to be there. Most of our attenders were free tickets. There were some VIP tickets who were technically our clients too. But what we decided when we were building out the speaker package that they were paying for, we were giving them a chapter in a book. So we published a book. In fact, I have it right here. I'll show you. So each speaker was able to write a chapter in a book, and so that was part of their what they got for the fee that they paid. But another thing was, again, I told you I was doing the photography and video work because that's part of what I do. So we delivered headshots of them and shots of them on stage speaking. We also delivered their video speech for them for this purpose. So we did not sell the content online afterwards, but they were able to do with it whatever they wanted, which presumably is what you're saying here, make that available, for a fee to generate revenue. It's a great idea.
Yeah.
I want to go
I
back
think
to
what you actually provided them is source of credibility because they got all deliverables from you,
Yeah.
like video, headshots, prove that they were really there. It really helps them get booked next time and also helps them stand out in their niche or
Yeah.
niche, whatever you want to
Yeah.
call it, but really
How do
show.
you say it?
I say niche. I don't know
All
why.
right, there you go. So I say niche, she says niche, but we get along.
Yeah, we understand what we are talking about.
I was just looking at the clock. I can't believe it's been an hour already, Nina. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Do you have some time to stick around, some bonus time?
Yes,
Are
of
you pressed?
course.
Okay, cool. I just want to make sure because I have more questions for you. And gosh, it's amazing how fast this goes. All right. One of the things that you talked about now, my team at the Gain event, we had 9 people on our team. So it was me and 8 other people in total, right? And it wasn't enough. I needed at least one more. I needed 10. So do you have a suggestion? Maybe it correlates to like the audience size, some type of formula that you could give as a recommendation, like, hey, if you're expecting 500 people, maybe this many helpers, and if you're going to have 50 people, maybe that many helpers. Do you have any like formula on that? I don't, frankly. I thought we were going to be great. I had thought of like, okay, I need this station. Like, you need people for admission, right? We needed a host or like ushers to seat people. I knew we needed somebody to coordinate with the facilities. We needed an MC to MC the show. I was doing photography and videography, but if you don't have that yourself, then you obviously need those too. So like, do you have a formula that you use? Because I would be interested. I'm sure others would be interested as well.
Let me give you an example. We had a really cool luxury event in Vienna in November for big brands, big cosmetic brands, for the biggest media company in Vienna, in Austria. And it was an event for 2,000 people.
Yeah.
And they had the specific time slots when they can enter, get an amazing experience, and then leave the event. And for that, I have to tell you, we had more than 100 people there.
Yeah.
It's a really like you have a catering, you have at least like 30 people for catering. Then you have people for jackets, because in Vienna it's cold in November. You have somebody to take off jackets, put the jackets.
I'm wearing a jacket right now because I'm cold.
Yeah. Yeah, and you also need for that, like I think for that, like 10 people, because it's a lot. People are coming, going, and then you need somebody who is going to give a present, giveaways, bags,
Right.
whatever. You also need that, and you also need like photographer, videographer who are taking pictures all the time, not just
Right.
during specific slot, but all the time. They are there from 9 to 5 taking pictures. Then you need like people who moderate the whole event, people who tell people what to do, announce things. Actually, you really need a lot of people for event. If you have an event about 100 people, you really definitely like need 30 to 50 people.
Yeah.
Including like everything, like so you also have people who take care of technology.
Yep.
And so many people forget about that, but that's a
Yep.
really important part. Like that's my work.
if you're live, right? You really need to have a stage manager who can set up the lights and the sound and run the soundboard. You got to have somebody probably on a laptop who doesn't leave, that's monitoring the video feeds and the social media posts, or that could be 2 people. One thing that we didn't have that, again, lessons learned, should have had. I was taking the photos primarily and the videos only of the stage, what was happening on stage, but it would have been really good to also have another photographer, during the speeches when I'm facing the speaker, facing the audience, catching their reactions and some of that. Cause You had mentioned this earlier, social proof for the speakers, that they're speaking at a premier event and having some of those, let's call it B-roll to speak in our world. But for those of you who are unfamiliar with that expression, kind of just like crowd photos, images of the event, not the star of the show, but the extracurriculars of the show to use for marketing purposes and to, again, establish credibility. Now, one of the tools that I use for my coach clients, and I'm curious if you do this for your healer clients, we create this thing called a media kit. And the
Yes.
media kit's like a one-page website where it puts all the I've been featured in Forbes. I've done a TEDx. I've got these books. I've been on these podcasts, and you put it all in one place. Why? Because, as you know, Nina, they're charging a lot of money for their services. It's not inexpensive. It's can be quite pricey, what we call high ticket items. And so it helps establish a value in the eye of the beholder that these people are actually worth the prices that they charge. Why are they qualified, right? Well, when you start getting in Forbes magazine or start getting in, some of these major publications, I have an opportunity to get in New York Times later this month, and I'm excited about that, right?
Congratulations.
Thank you. But when that happens, just like when I was just featured in Forbes, I take that article and I put it on that media kit for myself, as in part to do what I'm talking about for clients. So what do you think about all that? I don't know if the people watching have considered making their own media kits, but for me, it's a invaluable tool to help establish credibility.
Yeah, I saw clients who had the media kit. We did media kit for them, and all that comes with that, all the assets, all deliverables. I saw how their career took off. I had one client in Switzerland. She was already well known in her world, and I swear, like the moment she got that media kit on her website, she got so many speaking engagements, so many um, uh, articles published after that. People really want to connect with her, and it really increased her price, not only for her speaking engagements, but also for her healing services.
Yeah.
It really took off because you are building personal brand, and
They
this
tied
is
together.
why
Yeah.
yeah, this is why you can charge more. And this is, people get paid for what they're known for, not really what they do. If you
Right.
think about like the greatest people, like they 10 times more like bad, are they 10 times better than others? I assume not. Maybe yes, maybe not.
But they're
But
more in demand. Yeah, it's the
yeah,
demand. Yeah.
it's all about like building personal brand, and this is how your prices increase.
Yeah. I'm going to write that down. I think that's great. I just wrote a media kit can help your career take off. I love the way you said that. But let's say that one more time. Oh my gosh. It just exited my brain. Say it for me one more time, what you had just said. The
Um,
personal brand is what helps your
yeah, personal brand helps you increase your prices and charge more.
yeah, 100%. So, what are some suggestions that you would offer up to people on how to build their personal brand?
It's, first of all, think about what you want to be known for in your industry, in what kind of industry, and what is the message that you want to deliver to the world, and why should people pay attention to you,
Yeah.
and why should people listen to you? What do you stand for? And think about that. Have a strong, compelling message, and make sure that wherever you go, have that message.
Yeah.
I have a message, is like, where heart-centered healers become powerful leaders. That's for me. I stand for human education, stand for education, and bringing. For me, the most important thing what I do is really, whatever I do as a healer, as an agency, I make sure that I give back to society. That's for me the number one. You have to do good for yourself, for your clients, for society. Because if you're just focusing on yourself, it's not sustainable. You need to give back to society. And I remember the first money I took as a healer, I gave to feed 100 kids in an orphanage.
I love it.
That was for me then I saw, that was the moment when I had, oh my God, can
Yeah.
you imagine what could I do with money if I had more?
Yeah.
And that
Right.
was for me, okay, let's start charging people,
It's a
because at the
tool.
beginning I didn't really charge a lot of money.
Yeah. It is a tool. Money is a tool. It's a resource that can be used for great things if you have access to it, right? You can mismanage it, of course, but here's one. When I switched I was in the print industry for over 20 years, and I was in sales specifically inside of it, right? Um, when I switched over, I was actually laid off. I don't know if you and I have had this conversation. My audience has heard this many times, but I was laid off in, well, technically it was the last day of May in 2020, right? I had just moved down here from Northern California to Southern California, taking this job. 5 months into it, COVID had started to ramp up, and my company that I was working for as an employee said, "Hey, Ira, unfortunately, we have to, lay you off." I didn't know what that meant, so it was like a shock, right? And I switched over into being marketing only from a sales rep employee for 20 plus years to now I'm running my own small little company. It was me, myself, and I, right? It was a one man doing everything. And I had what a lot of people have, I believe, when it happens. You have this like imposter syndrome. I don't know if I really have that confidence, right? Like I would today. Like I have much more confidence today now, 4 years in. Okay. But the fact is that building that media kit helped me to establish not only for clients the value that I bring, but also it helped with that internal battle, those voices of doubt that creep in. Like, who are you, Nina, to charge thousands of dollars a month for your marketing services? Who are you, Ira, to charge thousands of dollars a month to these people? And why should they trust you? Well, but seeing the accolades, and I won some awards, which were great. And I was interviewed, and I got to speak on stage. I did a couple TEDx talks and things like that. And it helped me to see myself, to reset the own self-image that I had. So if you're out there and you're watching this, what we're talking about with the branding and with the media kits and all these things, it can not only help the clients to see you in a new light, it can help you see yourself in a new light. That certainly at least was my experience. Anything that you would like to add to that? You're on mute again, by the way. Nina, it's on mute. It muted. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry for this.
That's okay. There we go.
I would love to add something to this, because
Yeah.
it's really, really important what you mentioned. It's not really to help your confidence. I remember when I did like media kit for one of my clients, she said to me, "Oh my God, is this really me?" I said,
Yeah.
"You are amazing, but you
Yeah.
always hide that, because what is happening, actually, the things that we do so well, we take it like as a normal,
Yeah.
and our
Everybody can do that,
normal
right?
can
Yeah.
be
Everybody's good at that.
extraordinary."
Yeah.
Yeah, and very often we undersell ourselves.
Yeah.
And when you change that, when you have a media kit that is talking about who you are, what you do, and how amazing you are, this not only helps your confidence and not only helps you get more speaking gigs, but also helps you tell people what you really do for them. And
Right.
that's a big thing.
Yeah, no doubt. And I'll tell you what it also did for me. It helped me to figure out. So we talked about at length in the beginning, niching down and figuring out, what my specialty was, but also it gave me insight into what else I needed to still develop, right? I believe that as professionals, we should always be learning. And it was
Mm.
opportunities for me to identify the holes in my own experience that I wanted to shore up and study. And I'll tell you one of them that I started almost immediately, because the algorithms on these platforms, whether it's Google or LinkedIn or Facebook or YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all of them, they use algorithms, and you're impacted or affected by algorithms greatly, whether you know it or not, right? You can be ignorant to the fact that algorithms are running and how what you see, right? Or once you become conscious of their existence, then you start to try to figure out, okay, well, what is algorithm friendly and what is not? And so I started studying as hard as I could, like a nerd. Like, okay, I want to know. The first one I started with, which actually is impossible to learn, is the LinkedIn algorithm because I was relatively larger on LinkedIn. And so I started to try to understand the LinkedIn algorithm. Now, I'll tell you something that most people don't know. LinkedIn doesn't have a singular algorithm. This is part of what I learned. Everybody has their own unique algorithm. It's an AI derivative, and it's changing every time you use it. And you actually have more than one. You actually have two, which is crazy to think about, but you do. The website and the app are separate and they don't work the same way. If you go scroll your feed right now, open up your computer browser, go to the internet and look at that feed, and then open up your app and scroll and look at that feed side by side, they will show you different things.
Mm.
And that's because the algorithms are slightly different. And so everybody has to. So once I learned that, I was like, okay, well, trying to learn something that, there's a billion people on LinkedIn now. They only have 320 million monthly active users, but there's a billion overall. So trying to learn 2 billion algorithms, probably not realistic. That's what I came to that conclusion. So then with that freedom of knowing that, I switched over to Google and said, okay, if I can't learn LinkedIn in the detail that I wanted to, let me study the one that I can. So I've studied as hard as I can Google. Now, I will be the first to admit that I don't know Google's algorithm like the back of my hand. But because I study it on a regular basis and I learned some cool tools, including free resources that Google puts out, I'm much better equipped to understand how Google's algorithm works and create content that works. It's more algorithm friendly. Is it foolproof? No. Is it always changing? Yes, right? But I understand where we're at. And so that allows me to deliver a better product and outcome, as we talked about. It's so important, delivering the outcomes. If you're promising the moon and stars, don't deliver the cosmic dust. Did I
Yes.
get it? I did.
Yes.
All
And
right.
I just want to give people very important thing to take from this conversation.
Yeah.
Like you will never stop collecting data. You will
Yeah.
never stop collecting because you need to test, tweak,
Yeah.
and improve what you're doing. Because what you do today that is great, maybe is not going to be great tomorrow. So pay
100%.
attention to the data, collect data, and make sure that you regularly look at that and improve and tweak and test it again,
Yeah.
because nobody's perfect and algorithm is changing all the time, and
Yeah.
what worked today will not work tomorrow.
Well, and also consumer preferences change,
Yeah.
styles change, new technologies are introduced, or old technologies are put to bed. I mean, there are so many different ways. LinkedIn didn't always have this AI derivative algorithm and two for each user. Back in 2017, there was a one singular algorithm for the platform, and it changed in 2017. That's part of what I learned in my research, right? So, things change, and will LinkedIn continue to have the type of algorithm it has, forever? Probably not. They may at some point come back to a singular algorithm in the future if they just decide that works better. As we start to wrap this up, I want to make sure that I am giving you the full opportunity to share the things that you had prepared to share before the interview started. So I just want to open the floor up to you and give you, let's say, 5 minutes just to kind of share some overall marketing thoughts that you have, whether it's strategies or things for people to watch out for, or just observations that you notice, that things that are happening. But open floor for you, my guest Nina, to kind of just share what's in your heart and mind related to marketing with us today.
Yeah, thank you so much for this opportunity. I really enjoyed our talk today. I just want to tell people that every single touch point you have with your clients has to be strategically planned. And you cannot let it be just like because you have a website. You have to make sure that you have a congruent message on every single social media platform, and that you have congruent message on your website, and make sure that you use the clear language that your potential clients really can understand, not what you think, but what they believe is the problem, what they really believe is the solution to their struggles. And what I really want to give you is like, pay attention to data, pay attention what people are telling you, make sure that you always deliver excellent experience for your clients, and make sure that you deliver high quality service. This is what makes people pay, stay, and refer you, and ask you what's next, how can we work for more, do you have anything else? And it happened to me so many times as a healer that people ask me like, what's next, what can we do, what is the next course, what is the next membership? And if I don't have it right now, people come up with ideas and give me suggestions, and then I implement that, and it works very well because I paid attention to
Yeah.
what my clients want. And I always pay attention what makes them like feel good and what they really want, and also pay attention to what makes people click and buy, and try to understand consumer behavior and psychology, because this is what is going to help you thrive in times of recessions, pandemics, or presidential elections. If you want, is really paying attention to your clients and see what they want, and make sure that you deliver that to them. And you don't have to be celebrity to make money. You don't have to have thousands of followers on social media. Trust me, I don't have a big following on social media, but I still make money from my social media. And that's the most important thing. Don't be discouraged because you don't have a big numbers. Big
Yeah.
numbers don't tell you anything. The most important thing is, do you sell? Do you
Yep.
get clients?
Yep.
And if you do, then you're doing everything right, and make sure that you really wow your clients and deliver exceptional experience. And I don't know about you, Ira, but I am type of person who cannot sleep if I didn't deliver everything the way I wanted. And I wake up
Yeah.
at 2, 3 in the morning, make sure that I finish everything. Or if I have an idea how to improve clients' experience, I do that all the time. And
Yeah.
I'm happy. I just love what I do. I love marketing. I love healing. And I'm really, really blessed that I work with amazing people who do good for humanity. And that's something I want to say. And I also have really cool program, Illuminated Offer, which is my trademark, which is teaching healers how to create really an amazing offer, an irresistible offer that wows clients and make them pay, stay, and refer you, and deliver really high quality service and a great experience, because more than ever clients are craving experience and they are willing to pay more if you deliver great experience. And this is what I want to give people, like, don't be shy to charge more if you can deliver great results and can deliver great experience for your clients, because everybody wants to have the best things. And yeah, be who you are, shine your light. People need you. The world needs that love and light more than ever. And yeah, I'm happy to connect with you on my website, ninamaglic.com. I have weekly actionable marketing tips that I send every Tuesday to my list. I'm also very active on social media. I'm on Instagram. I'm Nina Maglic. LinkedIn is my favorite one. Uh, and Facebook, of course. You can find me there. I'm super excited to connect there. Yeah, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much for all great comments. And thank you, Ira, for having me here.
Yeah, it's been my pleasure to have you. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Marketing Mondays with Ira Bowman, and my guest, Nina Maglic. She has dropped a ton of nuggets, and I tried to summarize those as best I could in the comments. So make sure if you're watching this video, you don't just watch. Go through, especially on LinkedIn. As Nina said, it's the favorite. It's mine too. So make sure you read those comments and look for the tips that I spelled out. Nina, if people are looking to get a hold of you, like I said, they can find you on all the social media channels, but in your name right there, it has your website address. I would encourage people to go to ninamaglic.com, subscribe to her newsletter, and get those tips on Tuesdays. That's free advice for you. And then make sure that you check out her Illuminated Experience. That's a trademarked blueprint that she has with 4 major pillars, if I've got this correct, elements to it to help you get the results that you're trying to get. We've got somebody's watched us the whole show. Thank you for sticking around the whole show. And he's saying thank you to you. You are amazing. I agree with that 1,000%. 1000%. So thanks for coming on. I may invite you on to a future episode again, because I think you and I could go on for quite a while more. There's a lot more to explore. There was questions that I had for you that we didn't get to, but we are 22 minutes over. So I'm going to let you go here, but make sure, audience, that you are paying attention to the things that Nina and I discussed today, from the niching to the way you're communicating your services, to live events, and some of the strategies that we shared on how to run them so that you're setting yourself up for success. The media kit that we covered, and the different ways that you can build your personal brand, and it'll help you not only the way you see yourself, but the way others see you, which will obviously allow you to increase the prices that you charge, and you won't feel guilty about it or feel like you're an imposter or any of those things, right? But that the money is the reason why a lot of us are doing what we're doing Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 at least, or like Nina said, around the clock. A lot of us are running these businesses 24/7, 7 days a week. But anyways, Nina, again, thank you so much for joining.
Thanks.
For all of you that are watching, thank you so much for joining Marketing Mondays with Ira Bowman. You can catch us live every Monday. It's 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern, or time adjust for wherever you are. We live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. If you want to watch this specific video again, you can go to my social media channels, or you can go over to the Marketing Mondays tab at bowmandigitalmedia.com. Let me float that in the banner just so y'all could see it. So you can go here, bowmandigitalmedia.com, go to the Marketing Mondays tab, which is up in the menu, and then it'll be there. Give me just a couple days to get that on there, but that's where all the episodes live permanently. So if you've missed any of the previous 100 or so episodes, you could go check them out there. Again, my name is Ira Bowman. Thank you for watching. We look forward to seeing you next week. Have a very great day, everybody.